All right, I got an email from a fella, and he has very limited amount of items that he can train with. Most of the stuff he's fashioned himself. Um, he doesn't even have a pull-up bar. He's built a pretty damn good physique, just out of sheer determination and work ethic. But he's having issues with his back. He doesn't like the fact that he's got like 19-inch arms, but he's got no back. He has no width, so he needs to work these lats. So he's asking me about this, and he's wondering if Lee Haney type rows, which I don't know if you're familiar with that or not. If you don't know what that is, Lee Haney rows, I'm very familiar with Lee Haney's approach to back training. Lee Haney rows are, he leans way over, sometimes even standing on some kind of an elevation, slight elevation, to account for plates, like they have 45s on there or whatever, so you can get the bar down as low as possible. So that he starts very low, and his back pretty much stays as bent as it can be, and then he pulls it up and rows it. It's not like pendulays or anything. It's not that, but it's a kind of a sort of modified version of a combination of maybe I don't know, typical row and a pendulay, I guess. But they call it Haney Rows, and that's why they called them Haney Rows, because nobody really knew what else to refer to it as. Now, if somebody else out there says, "Oh, well, that's been around a long time. The proper name is this," I don't give a, you know what? I'm trying to watch my language. I don't give an F. Okay, I'm calling them Haney Rows, and that's how it is. So now you know what I'm talking about. And this gentleman, this brother, referred to him as Haney Rows. He wants to know if I think that'll build lats. Yeah, it'll build lats. It'll build lats. What are you going to do them with? Do you have a barbell? If you don't have a barbell and you're using something else, you just want to make sure that you're going to be able to get enough range of motion, that maybe you need to stand on something a little bit so that you can get better range of motion, get as much range of motion as possible, within common sense boundaries. But really, and much like Lee Haney, and the reason I'm very familiar with the way he approaches back training, or the way he used to, is he had an incredible back. And when I was early on learning how to lift, I was a student of Lee Haney. And because he had an incredible back. And I've come to believe exactly as he preaches, and that's that the back is basically divided, or you have a mentality, you can look at it as the back is divided into like almost 3 body parts. It's such a complex array. You have, and exactly like he says, traps, and then you have lats, and you have lower back. You have traps, and you have lats, and you have lower back. If you look at it that way, and you train for those 3 things, lower and middle back, you're going to cover the entire back. Now, if you've seen my ideal, what I feel is my ideal way to train back, and the way that I trained back, and I've had a monstrous back in my day. It's not bad today, it's pretty damn good now, but back in the day at my biggest, I had an incredible back. And I will put some pictures up here. I know I said it, sometimes don't do it because then I forget and I want to load the video and get the hell to bed, but I will put them on here to show you what it looked like. I like to do, my deadlift workout, where I've got a whole video on it, so I'm not going to get into it. A whole video on it, and that's what I'm going to demonstrate soon anyway, now that I'm lifting heavier again. I'm going to show you how I actually used to do it. But in this case, he can't deadlift. He doesn't have a barbell or plates like that. He don't have the equipment like that he can be deadlifting them. So if you can't come up with another way, and that's arguable. I can see where people would argue that point, maybe say, well, deadlifts aren't going to build your lats. Well, they do. If you go heavy and you give it, and of course heavy's relative. If you go what's very heavy for you, that you can still manage to do, but you go very heavy, like I worked up to singles in my workouts. If you go pretty heavy, you're going to build lats with deadlifting. In my opinion, the first beginning of the motion, you're really pulling hard with those lats. I tore a lat deadlifting, so I know you're pulling with the lats. But in this case, I would say, exactly like Lee Haney preaches, that pull-down motions or pull-up motions are going to make the back wider. Pulling back motions are going to make the back thicker, more dense. And then, of course, you have and then again, I hate to keep saying this, but exactly like Lee Haney preaches for low back and spinal erectors, I like stiff leg deadlifts. I like stiff leg deadlifts, and all the deadlifting I did. My lower back was a beast. To be quite honest with you, from deadlifting, my lower back was so strong. Stiff legs really didn't do, too much in particular for it, and mostly I put the accent on my hamstrings because I found them to be ideal for that as topping off a hamstring workout. But that's a whole other story. And in fact, I could stiff leg so much that if I told you how much I stiff legged, you wouldn't believe it. But guess what? Brian Weston was there, and he actually said to me, he said, "Oh God, don't do that. That's really scary," But my lower back was very strong, and I attribute that to all the deadlifting I did. So it's hard, in my opinion, for me, it's hard to get around the deadlift if you can't do the deadlift. But if you can't, he said he doesn't have any way to do pull-ups. Well, you got to find a way. You found a way to do all these other things. You found a way to build a good physique. Just sheer determination and work ethic. You can find a way to do pull-ups. You don't need a pull-up bar. Like I did in the video, you saw me, I made a video about how to train without weights. There's a number of ways you can do this. You can put take two heavy-duty ropes, or just strong enough ropes that you'll be able to grip them. If you have to, put gloves on so you can hold on to these ropes. And you can wrap two ropes around something, and you can grab. Then you'll have a neutral grip, and you can pull up that way. And then you can put another ring of rope through that ring of rope. You could tighten that one up really tight if you prefer, so that way you can get overhand or underhand grip. If the neutral grip isn't going to get you where you want to get. And you're going to find something to hang off of, man. Just find something to hang off of. There's got to be something. Is there anywhere door frame high enough, or we got barns here. Anything, a cross beam, a damn tree, if you can get the right tree. I would even use a tree with an off-camber branch. If you use a longer rope to offset the difference, and a shorter rope, you're still gonna be able to get the same effect. Yeah, if you can't do pull downs, then you need to try to find a way to pull up. If you can't pull up, then is there any way you can pull down? Can you fix something that you can pull down? Can you get a pulley? Can you go to like Home Depot or somewhere, or a hardware store, and get a pulley? If you can get a pulley, man, you're halfway there. You're 3/4 of the way there. If you can get a pulley, you can throw anything through that pulley. A rope, cable. You can buy cable in the same place. Home Depot, cheap. Rope, cable, tie something on one end of the cable, make some kind of handle on the other end of the cable. Run that cable through that pulley first. Hammer that pulley into something up high over your head, and there you go. It isn't going to be pretty. It isn't going to be ideal, but it's going to work. It's going to work pretty decent. So I believe exactly the way Lee Haney. I think that Lee Haney really has it on the money with his back training, his approach to back training, and dividing the back up into like kind of 3 body parts, contributing to this entire complex. And again, that would be like traps, lats, and low or mid back. Anyway, that's it. Let me get to bed. I hope that helps a little bit. It's tough to get around certain things without at least minimal equipment, but it can be done. Like I said, pull-ups. Surely you're a man. You're resourceful, man. You can find something to hang off of and pull up. Something.